When you live in couple you will know each other behavior and attitude, but every time you see that your partner is behaving inconsistently, every time he is out of character, you are possibly facing bewitchment. You must exercise authority. Bewitchment and the manipulation caused people to behave out of character. It was when my husband was bewitched that he began to behave out of character, and he told me I should stop going to church, and when I obeyed him I opened the door to the enemy to come in and destroy my marriage, and divorce happen. When I left my husband I knew that my sister had better life and I will manage. I thought I left all the battle behind me. I did not know that I was followed by monitoring spirit, and whoever received me was affected by these demons that were following me. That is why you have to be careful when you invite people to live with you. Some people may be accompanied by demon. They will increase your battle. When I began to live with my sister after divorce, she was already divorced and abandoned with 4 children without justification and reason. Every man and woman in the family was under the law of divorce, maintained by the strong man who was the spirit of divorce. Since it brought her more spirit, her situation got worse, and we both ended up in the street, kicked out of the house. When my sister was lodged by her friend I followed her, for I could not sleep in the street with my baby. 2 weeks later my sister was told by his friend, I welcomed you because you are my college, but you brought your sister with her baby. She must find another place, we can't live here. Instead of going to church that my former husband forbade me, I thought about finding relative, yet the Lord was trying to separate me from my family and wanted me on his feet. I ended up at my brother's place. The latter said, when I come back from this journey I will give you money so that you will do something to become independent. Since I was monitored and followed by demon, my brother died where he went. When you are opposed by witches, people can promise you, but demon will work to stop them from keeping their promises. When the enemy know that a relationship will help you, he would work to keep you apart. People that we meet in life have their battle. I was kicked out of the house at 6 a.m. in the morning with my baby. I ended up in the street again with my baby. I was shaken, confused and depressed. I was in the Lord, but he allowed this suffering. In Christian walk the Lord often allows suffering and trials. I was going through the worst. I began to hear voices telling me, you can end this suffering, kill yourself and end this life, take poison and kill yourself. Walking the street with a baby I met a woman who proposed to offer me a place to sleep with the baby outside the capital. I could not refuse and began to live with her. Since I had no job I began to work for her to have something for myself and the baby. I look at where I came from and where I descended. I was filled with sadness. The devil continued to tell me to end my life. Finally I was relieved when a man offered me marriage. I did not know that when you have a star that is shining, the enemy will send you people to marry you so that he can steal your star. This man was an agent sent by the enemy to ambush my life. The mistake was that I looked at what strike the eyes and his financial capacity. But marriage time is dangerous time of decision where many life are ambushed and hijacked by the enemy. This man was a businessman who traveled everywhere. When he went to see my family I noticed that this man was generous, giving my relative a lot of money, but he was hiding something sinister, the true source of his money. In the end we got married and I got pregnant. Though I had complication, the baby was saved through cesarean. Then one day he told me, Rebecca, you must join my church. No one in my family knew God. In order to sound the alarm against this dark church, I was baptized with candle, red handkerchief, pouring of water. I was told to make an oath to serve. I did not know that the so-called baptism was a ritual and a covenant. This church was stealing people's stars and somehow they knew that I had a shining star. Already I was told they wear uniform of certain color when they go to pray, and we were given specific time of the day for prayer. Every day at 4:30 we had to wake up for prayer. In the spirit this was a time where witches return to their body after operating in the night, and there is a satanic power released at this particular time of the day that allow the wicked that attended night meeting to return to the body. This was the time Jacob fought with the angel in order to be blessed. The word of the angel was, let me go back, for it was about to be morning. The dawn is a strategic time where angels of night leave the earth and angels of day come down. When people pray at this time of the day there is an open heaven. Being an outcast from heaven, the enemy know the mystery of times. Morning prayers is strategic. for angels go up with prayers and go down with blessing. Midday is also a strategic time, where specific spirit work and people are in high tension. Others time are 3, 6 and midnight. When I got married and joined his church, I did not know that my husband's church was of the devil. Not all church are of Christ. Since many people are going to church, the enemy has followed them in the church. In the end time the enemy is building churches and raised false pastors. They preach the name of Jesus Christ, but they use evil power in order to win souls and lead them to hell. Whenever they speak of Jesus, but it is Bar Jesus, not Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Because of ignorance I ended up in the church of a false prophet. I was welcomed and promoted very quickly because the false prophet saw my shining star. Ritual and ceremony were done and they seems innocent, but the enemy is cunning, for what seem innocent has caused the door of my life to be open for the enemy. As a result my baby began to suffer skin disease. I spent 5 months in the hospital and he was diagnosed with meningitis, a sickness that which sent to children. The false prophet came with his pastors that previously baptized me. I gave them $50 offering. Instead of prayer, a ceremonial ritual was done, with coal burning incense and a paper in which they wrote prayer in red ink, and I stood with my baby on my hand before the burning incense, reciting prayer that they gave me, in which I was calling my grandfather to come and help the baby. This coal burning incense was an altar, where I stood offering my baby in sacrifice without knowing. I destroyed my baby with my own words because of ignorance. I did not know that the rise of the smoke of incense indicated that my offering, which was my baby life, had gone up. I was ignorant. When in your church they are using incense and candle, be careful. Before this altar I felt a wind entering the room. It was suspicious. It was a demon. Christian must be careful with ceremony and ritual. When these ritual ended at midnight, I began to pray the way I was instructed, and during prayer I saw a whirlwind entering the room. I did not know it was a spirit. Immediately I felt weak and slept. I felt like my head got bigger, as if it was not my head. In truth the prayer that they gave me was an invocation. I felt like spirit were seated on my shoulder and I became weaker. When I saw my baby making movement I struggled to get closer, but I was taken by the sleep. That's when I saw like a person was coming out of my body through the head. As a result I became too. A spirit came in the form of a whirlwind and transported me to the cemetery where my ancestor that I called in the ritual was buried. His soul had become a wandering spirit. When I landed in the cemetery I saw an old grave. It was actually my grandfather's grave. Immediately it began to dissolve and opened up, and I saw a man coming out of the grave. When I looked at him I saw that it was my grandfather. I said, "Grandfather, you are already dead. How come I am in contact with you?" He laughed with infernal laugh and said, "You knew that I was dead. Why did you call me to help the child? Did you know that I came and I was there when you called me? You had eyes but did not see me. I will show you that I was there." He showed me his hand and I saw the $50 offering that I gave the so-called men of God in his hand. He said, "The offering that you pay me has opened the door so that I will establish contact with you.